Hello there, welcome back. Welcome to Miriam's portal, the sacred portal of transformation. And I am making the second video to basically part two to give you a little bit deeper look on the interview that I have performed with Don Augustin, who is the master shaman for the Ayahuasca medicinal plant retreat. And I did a first interview with him in Spanish, of course, which you can see on my channel or you can see it on my website. And this is actually the translation. So the way I do it is basically I read the question and then I actually read the answers that he gave me because it's already translated into English. However, like I mentioned, you can totally watch the video in Spanish as well on my channel. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Starting with the sixth question. Don Agustin, thank you. Do you see your role as a curandero or shaman evolving with the industry? And Don Agustin responds, I think that first of all, we need to talk about ayahuasca's medicine. Ayahuasca's medicine belongs to native communities. Ayahuasca cannot be patented. One of the most important things to remember that the name of ayahuasca cannot be misused or patented as such because it belongs to native communities. These traditions that belongs to the native people must be respected. What I'm saying is that ayahuasca can be used in different parts of the world. But look, what good is it do to put ayahuasca into a pill? What is the use of making ayahuasca syrup, of making ayahuasca oil? It is all just ego, because each plant deserves respect. Ayahuasca is only one. Yes, with many different preparations. Yes, with different ingredients at minimum, but the greatest ingredient is always ayahuasca. Ayahuasca with chacaruna. That is the original recipe of the jungle. In Colombia, for example, it's called jagué, and in Brazil, Santo Daime, where each ritual is different. In different countries, ayahuasca is accepted because it is a part of religion. But for us, who live here in Amazonia, we are very restricted to bring certain traditional medicine to other countries. So what is in spiritual union about? What is union of life about? If certain large factories and big pharma industries are prohibiting traditional medicine so much, neither homeopathy is fully accepted, nor Chinese medicine till today. So what are we talking about? We're talking about prohibitions. I honestly really prefer for people to come to my camp to do their processes, but there are also people that we have to help in many other countries that I travel to. I favor people coming for the treatment to my camp, where I have all my tools, where I can work with people whom I trust, and I can also pay better attention to the processes that are happening and that people are going through. But we're talking about the scientific field and talking about big pharma. We're talking simply about prohibitions and control of large companies and entrepreneurs who are casually selling some products. These products are only soothing, but do not enter deep consciousness, do not enter into spirituality, do not enter into soul, do not even enter into heart. Why should we accept that in the world? That is why traditional medicine is now gaining strength and popularity. Traditional medicine goes together precisely with men and women. There are healers, and it is what we're seeing today. I love being able to help people who want to learn, and I also love to do my healing because that is part of my life. I am glad that you are one of them, Miriam, that you are here in the camp healing and learning with your brother. Seventh question. Don Agustin, thank you very much. You come from a family of healers, and your dad, your father, is a very famous and well-known healer and shaman. How was your training to the role of a shaman, in particular shaman ayahuasquero? Well, in reality, we are considered ayahuasceros. We're continuing through a single line of work within traditional medicine, and that is serving ayahuasca. We do not give San Pedro here. We do not do other rituals with other plants. They are not part of the process because I think that each person, each healer has its and hers particular specialties. So we belong to a family of healers, where many times in my youth I was supporting the work with my wisdom from the Sipibo native tribe, which are the Indians of my town. My grandmother was also a great healer. She lived here in Amazonia, but if she would have lived in Europe, she would have died for her knowledge when the healers were hunted and prosecuted. My father, my teacher, was also teaching me in a very different way, where I had to wake up and awaken my ideas, awaken my exploration of my own interiors. His teachings were not showing me a whiteboard and then I had to study it later. The best study is direct practice, theory with practice. What is the interpretation that you can understand yourself and how to obtain new results? This was the only option that I had to take, looking at it from perspective of the traditional healers. Because in reality, I belong to a family of healers, and I am proud to be part of this and to be able to continue working with people who need us, or work on things that we need or do not even need anymore. Because with one thought, we can move the whole world, always putting good intention inside people. And he continues, I do not know who will be my successor. It is really not important to talk about it right now, because nobody demanded of me to follow this path. To follow this path, I decided on my own free will, and I come to profound understanding that this path of being a healer, shaman, or curandero never ends. One always has to keep moving towards, and moving towards mean forward. And moving forward means that every day is different and every patient is different. This shamanism, or rather, I say this curanderismo, is in constant change and evolution in direct agreements to the process of the people undergoing an experience of healing. We cannot interrupt a process by making a disciplined program scheme with exact hours or with exact days. Absolutely not. In shamanism or in curanderismo, it is not possible because every day, every person evolves differently. You can see the difference. Shaman can only accompany these processes as these processes always changing. They can be very direct and very individual within a group setting where we can see the transformation of people. Well, my father has been working as a healer curandero for many years, more than 50 years of work. I have worked more than 30 years, well, to be exact, 32, and I'm following with this path with a lot of faith because I have a promise to the plant. When one begins to walk with this plant ayahuasca, one does it because one feels committed without demand, only by his will. 8th question. Thank you, Don Augustin. When was the first time you were drinking ayahuasca? How did it go? What message did you receive? And Don Augustin says, the first time I took ayahuasca, I was 6 years old. 6 years. They did not give me a large dose. They gave me a little dose. After that, I just continued drinking ayahuasca. Many times I accompanied my father to lead ayahuasca ceremonies. We had to walk by foot 6 kilometers. We didn't have a motorcycle, and we didn't have a bicycle. We didn't have anything. So we had to walk 6 kilometers one way and 6 kilometers back. At least I had a great determination to consciously follow the calling to go into shamanism or curanderismo. I wasn't so awake, but I always looked for alternatives to survive in life because my parents were poor. We didn't have money, and we couldn't even study at the university to obtain degrees. For this reason, I don't have a university degree, but I went into University of Life, into the University of Shamanism, where the spirits are the professors. That way, I have learned about spirituality. The spiritual guides and the spirits are our teachers, and they teach us like a professor would. Inside of our visions, we get lessons where we take different plants while entering into this deep connection. This profound connection with the plant is already within us for the moments that we work with people or live the reality of life, because this plant accompanies us on this path as guides in our life. In my life, I have learned more by looking than asking questions. This was my strength because I talked a lot with my consciousness and creation, and with my creativity inside as well. I searched for a lot of logic, the complement of giving something of added value, something constructive to help. I also remember that I often explored my inner world. I had to know and understand many things. Where are my pains? What are my physical defects? Or my behaviors? I like to observe people, looking at their behaviors with understanding that this can be cured this way, this plant can help with this, or that plant can help with that. I also had a great opportunity in my life to become friends with many elderly people, where the wisdom is, where they show you how to make and how to treat a plant, what is the proper dose, and how to plant is prepared as a medicine. I have been very curious and asked the elders a lot. I have traveled to live with them, with the elders, for some time, as they knew everything about life with that kind of humanity, with this humble force that is born out of yearning to heal people. And like this, I lived for a long time, where messages were appearing to me in my visions, calls from certain healers or calls from healers inviting me to come for ceremonies. I had to go. I initially believed that it was not real, but when I went to a person's address that I have seen in my visions, well, it was very real. They actually called me. Well, there are many things in life that one can learn. A great teacher is always needed. Sometimes the teacher is drastic, and we think it's bad. In reality, it is because in his hardness, he teaches us, he guides us. Another thing is mocking, making fun of a person. That is not cool in my book at all. One can be drastic, one can be very strong and directional, but I do not like laughing at a person because each person deserves a respect. Ninth question. Thank you, Don Augustin. We talk a little bit about the program is intended for the leaders and visionaries who are listening to the call to participate at the top levels to expand their capacity to help the world and the earth. What message do you have for these people? They are visionaries, they are leaders, and they want to help. And Don Augustin responds, well, I believe that to be a leader is to have knowledge and understanding that the very first step that one is going to take on earth when she is a leader is to simply help. Another thing in leadership is to learn to share. The leader has to learn to give opportunity. If a leader does not give opportunity and only guides and does not give opportunity, they cannot be a leader. It is one thing to know the strength and the knowledge a leader has, and another thing is to impulse to make the world how or what she knows. Because within her and his being, a leader is also confronting many issues when walking the walk of health. The leader has to prepare physically, mentally, or organically to be able to find their strength. I do not believe that leaders are born. Leaders are formed. One thing is to have a structural theory from informational books on how to be a leader. And another thing is practice. In this thing called practice, it is necessary to understand exactly psychological reinforcements of a leader. Leaders cannot fail too many times. Oh no. Leaders have to set out to their best walk. For example, they talk about trust. They talk a lot about trust. What kind of trust and confidence to give to a worker, for example? What kind of confidence can a worker give to them so that the worker performs in his work? It is not about giving more. It is about fulfilling what one has to do. Then if we talk about leadership, we're able to see that many people do not look at the degree of friendship they have with people. It is not about fully covering people's trust. It is about managing that trust. One needs to know how to manage the psychology of trust to be able to stabilize themselves better within an energy field, and being able to do so accomplish better results without having to be worried. So I believe that a softness in understanding between a leader and a person is a friendship. And Don Augustin continues. They have to enter into this strong trust as friends, who is a friend and who is an associate. For example, if I'm going to work 5-6 years with a person and I do not seek trusted friendship, then I cannot be a leader. A leader needs to have a position that guides others. To be a leader is also to be a teacher, one who teaches, one who gives opportunity to walk all the way to success. We're talking about success. We're talking about triumph. We're talking about winning. We're talking about all aspects. So I think that this world of shamanism, curanderismo, improves the quality of life in all of that. Ayahuasca improves the quality of life in all different aspects. All different treatments that are done here at my camp are to improve quality of life. This way, people are able to interpret things better, because also a leader has to be confident with himself or herself. If there is no confidence, one is not a leader. Leader by commitment is not a leader. One has to become confident with themselves, and to find this trust, you have to prepare yourself. You have to release and let go of different topics of life and find new tools to be able to integrate it into a part of being a leader. 10th question. Thank you, Don Augustin. And Don Augustin, how do you think that ayahuasca can help, that is in our program? People who are leaders and entrepreneurs of large companies will come to our retreat. How do you think ayahuasca can help them to elevate themselves into higher levels, so that way they can see not only what new products they can develop, but products that are more eco-friendly with the land and with the people? And Don Augustin responds, I believe that if there is an entrepreneur that comes to my camp and he or she can go through a process of changes in their mind and their body with the help that is given here, they will succeed to elevate. Let's not forget that entrepreneurs are humans too. So when they come to our camp, we treat them as that, as humans. Everyone comes with different issues, of course. They are professions, they have everything. But we're talking about entrepreneurs. We're talking about how to do their jobs better, how to manage their things better. This means that they have to undergo changes and let go of costumes that do not let them live a full life. They have to allow for spiritual healing to happen within themselves. They also must confront the fear of letting go of control. Also, they must submit to the possibility of creating new projects, of creating new ideas, and to learn how to innovate inside a different state of consciousness, to tap into a new way of creativity, tap into new space. Because life is consuming. To be an entrepreneur is consuming. In the current state, they cannot do more because they are full of problems and there is no personal space. It is a monotony. It becomes a deadly routine that does not allow them to live. But if they enter into the process of change within traditional medicine, such as ayahuasca, it will result in a better quality of life, both individually, within their private life, and in their business life as well. Because these two things cannot be joined, privacy also deserves respect. So the quality of life as an individual, as much as an entrepreneur, with the drinking of ayahuasca improves substantially. This medicine goes directly to consciousness, directly to the power of decisions to do things. It increases logic, increases the visions, increases investment parameters. What can they invest in? What they can do with this, what they can do with that? It is then very easy for the entrepreneurs to look in great detail where they can do business. Very easy. And that is the vision of ayahuasca. That is right. And a last question. Thank you very much. Don Augustin, very last question. What message can you give to the leaders that would like to come to our program? And Don Augustin responds, I believe that leaders should have an opportunity to focus on themselves with the help of plants such as ayahuasca and with the treatment they receive here, where they can be free from many things, to be able to distinguish what hurts them and what they need to clean and let go, things that do not serve them to be stronger every new day. Because what is the use of putting so many pills into the stomach, but the next day is exactly the same? I recommend the traditional medicine of ayahuasca to all entrepreneurs to leave stress behind and to finally enter into well-being, to allow themselves to rest and to regain their entrepreneur's memory so that they can have that peace of mind to be able to connect with what they want. The entrepreneur is also the person who has the opportunity to feel and to be human, because I believe that within being an entrepreneur, he or she has also feelings. And Don Augustin continues. They also have their bad days, they also have their good days, and they also have commitments outside of their companies. But of course, if your own house is not being well taken care of, how can one do the work outside? That means a person needs to be well first, get strong, take spiritual vitamins, take vitamins of confidence to be able to be and to do their best within a company or where they can give to improve. Then I definitely recommend our ayahuasca retreat. Not only to entrepreneurs, I recommend it to everyone that wants to see a definite personal and transformational change. And lastly, I said, I agree with you, Don Augustin, very much. Anything else? Don Augustin responds, I think there is nothing else to say. Everything is very clear. Thank you for everything, and I really hope, Miriam, that with your project, with your group is successful, and we are always here to serve. So thank you so much for watching and actually listening to these beautiful and wise words from our shaman, Don Augustin. The original video, again, is in Spanish, and you can see it on my portal. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will be more than happy to respond, to answer, and so forth. So thank you again. Have a beautiful day, and we'll talk to you soon.